Welcome to the Advance Your Art podcast, where we talk about the journey from artist to entrepreneur and everything in between. You've worked hard to hone your craft. Now take it to the next level with tips, techniques, strategies, and routines used by successful artists to grow their businesses and careers. Now, let's get started and have some fun with your host, Yuri Cataldo.
Well, hello, Irina. Welcome to the podcast. How are you this evening?
Hi, Yuri. I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I'm also doing well. I am staying inside on this very warm summer day.
It is warm, isn't it?
It is. It is a bit unseasonably warm, but I don't want to complain because in the next few months it will be freezing. So
Nope, can't complain about this.
Exactly. I'd rather it be warm right now than what's going to happen in February where it's going to be, negative 0 and snowy.
And
so
you're in Boston. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So it's going to happen. It may only be a short period of time, but it will happen. So exactly. I will sit by the air conditioner and I will keep my mouth shut.
That's what I'm doing here in New Jersey. Air conditioning full on. It feels like just humid and hot here. Hot and humid, bad combination.
Yeah. That's kind of, so how long have you lived in New Jersey?
It's been about 14 years now.
Oh, wow.
In New Jersey, yes.
Yeah. What part of, if you don't mind me asking, what part of New Jersey?
Oh, absolutely not. I don't mind. It's northern New Jersey. Basically, if you draw a straight line west from George Washington Bridge, I'll be half an hour away from New York City.
Very cool. I used to live in Maplewood. That's why I asked.
Oh, cool. I love that town.
Yeah.
I love it. They have great restaurants.
They do. It was a cute little city. So that was 10 years ago. I lived in Maplewood for a little bit.
Huh.
It was kind of fun. All right, but enough about me.
No, let's talk about you.
That's not the point of this one. All right, let's start from the beginning on this. And how do you describe yourself and what you do?
How do I describe myself? I am kind, loving, caring. I know, I'm joking. I am a photographer. I'm a branding photographer, founder of Power Portraits, and I also educate small business brands, mostly personal brands, about the way they can improve their branding experience. The way people experience and interact with their business has a lot to do with how they present themselves online, visually. So the copy is important. We all know it, and we have taken courses with people on how to write interesting emails and stuff like that. But then, so what do people experience when they land on your website? And it's not just about colors, and it's definitely not about logo. It has a lot to do with how people present themselves, what kind of pictures they're posting. Are they actually posting any pictures of themselves? I can go on for like hours, so I'm going to stop here for now.
Okay, that works. All right, but let's backtrack a little bit on that one because going to school for photography is not what you did. You went to school for something totally different.
No.
So what made you want to study computer science?
Okay, so computer science, actually, I wanted to be a programmer. It was my dream since like 10th grade when I saw a computer for the first time and wrote a first basic program in BASIC, that's a language, programming language back then, that did some mathematical thing. And I was enthralled with the fact that I can control a machine and it looks so complicated and weird and there are keys that my fingers are not used to, but somehow it can do what I want. And I just dove right into it. And it was also a very creative arena. Writing programs is a creative thing. Very creative, in fact. But it's also tedious. So you have to have a certain discipline in order to follow through. You have to close all the loops. But it's very creative, so I'm going to stop right there. I feel very chatty today.
No, that's okay. Being chatty is a good thing. It means I have to ask less questions, and you just volunteer more information. So it looks like you went to school for that, and then you graduated and started working as a software engineer. How did that first job process go? And then did you stay at the same company for, let's say, 9 years, or did you go around from project to project, or how was your initial career set up?
That's actually a very interesting question. My career is a little weird. I started as a consultant in United States. All the way from Latvia. The company that hired me as a software engineer brought me here to help with I don't remember what it was, but it was for Albuquerque Public Schools, and we did some project on their mainframe, and it had to do with some code. It was very easy. I was just so frustrated that people pay good money for doing that kind of work. Yeah, but it was interesting. I experienced United States, and when I came back, for some reason, it appeared to people that since I worked in the U.S., I must be good. So it immediately kind of propelled me to a position that I was not ready for. Mm-hmm. It was a management position in the company, and I was supposed to advise people on technology, which I did. I spent a lot of time researching, and I'm very good at boldly, confidently explaining things so people trust me. It's a trait my ex-husband did not appreciate. But, it's okay. We're friends now. But yes, somehow it really helped me in my career that I would just take my time, study something, and then go up and present it in a convincing way. And that provided fast growth immediately. Mm-hmm. But I didn't want to stay there back in Latvia. I wanted to come back to the United States, of course, legally. So I was looking for ways to do that. And what I did is I applied for a PhD program in computer science in the University of Mexico. Because, hey, I've been there, Albuquerque. I've lived there for 5 months. I know everybody. No. Yeah. But somehow that worked. I applied, they approved me, and even provided me with a scholarship. So basically here I am traveling across the ocean. I probably had $1,000 in my pocket. Maybe. I'm stretching it. I don't remember. And a suitcase. And I did not plan to come back. And when I showed up, all I had was basically just that. And one of my friends provided me with a car for 3 days. And I stayed a couple of nights with my other friends. And then I rented an apartment. And I started as a TA, teaching assistant, mm-hmm. in the computer science department. And when I saw what they teach, mind you, I did not get any education in the United States. And my English was awful. People would ask me, how do you like our mountains? And I would say excitedly, oh, they're terrible. And what I meant to say, they're terrific.
Yeah.
They're very close to each other, right? These words. Anyway, it was complicated. And when I found out that I'm supposed to teach a bunch of American students in their language, things that I can't even pronounce in English because I've never used these terms in English. I was learning the entire thing from scratch this time in English. That's what was happening. Mm-hmm. It was funny. No, it wasn't funny. It was fun. It's funny to think, and while looking back right now, what's going on, yeah. I was just basically stumbling through and maybe crying myself to sleep at night, and in the morning showing up with a smile and doing it again until it became easy. At some point, I decided to go back to Latvia for a while. I got married by then and wanted to start a family. So I came back and did some work in Latvia once again on a few rather visible projects for the government. It was very exciting, and I felt very validated because I felt like I have some influence, and I was doing things that if you told me a year ago I would be doing it, I'd be like, no, you're nuts. No way anybody will be hiring me to do that. But yeah. It happened somehow. again, just this whole transitioning back and forth, somehow people were impressed with the fact that I'm going to America, or I came to America and I'm doing all these things.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it kind of is something. I felt like that's just what I do. I don't feel like it was hard or anything. It was definitely hard looking back, but
yeah,
that moment it was just, well, we're doing that.
Yeah.
I guess we're doing that. Okay.
Sure, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, great. So then along this route, you got interested in photography and then started a company on that. So what was that process like? Like, what first got you interested in photography, and what made you want to suddenly stop your career and start something brand new?
There's zero logic to this, by the way, Yuri. I was 15 or 13. I don't remember when my daddy gave me a camera. It was a small, tiny little Soviet camera called Smena. It looks like a box with a hole. There was no zoom, nothing. There is no aperture or shutter speed on the camera. It was as simple as possible. Literally a box with a hole.
Mm-hmm.
To put film in it, and it created pictures. And then Soviet Union broke up, and it was hard to get stuff when it broke up because Latvia is a tiny little country, mm-hmm. and every supply store, photo supply store got shut down. So I basically just moved on with my life and went to study computer science. Next best thing, right?
Exactly.
When I was here in the United States, I was just basically friends with somebody who owned a DSLR, and I remember I borrowed it and played around with it, and it was fun. And then one of my friends told me, you take nice portraits. Oh, by the way, why don't you try selling your photos on stock sites? It's a nice way to make a living. Here's a guy who makes like $10,000 a month.
Oh.
I was like, really? And I looked at his pictures, and it sounds like I can implement that. Sounds like I can learn to shoot that way. And I started shooting for stock libraries. Now, stock libraries are interesting.
Mm-hmm.
They are so brutal and rejecting anything that even remotely is of bad quality, bad composition, a little bit of noise, a little bit of machinations on the computer in Photoshop. They see everything. So if the picture is not good enough, they're not accepting it. But what they do is they write you back a pretty detailed review of what is wrong with the picture. And it was like best school ever. I've learned so much taking crappy photos for stock libraries, mm-hmm. uploading them, receiving feedback, going back, trying it again. It's insane, right? It sounds mm-hmm. insane. So that was my photography. That's how my photography education started.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Eventually somebody asked me to shoot an assignment, and I was like, I'm not going back to the stock libraries. Earning 30 cents per download, I can make $500 just from a day of a shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I do that? So I stopped. You had a question? Sorry, I'm just chatty today. Wow.
No, it's quite all right. So your work early days as a photographer while you were learning, taking photographs for these stock companies, was that while you were still working?
Still working.
Okay, so this is on the side, weekends type of thing?
Completely on the side, with a baby growing up, with a commute to and from New York City every day. Somehow I would find the time, and yes, I didn't sleep enough. I would sleep on the bus a lot.
I totally understand that. I do that myself. So you're commuting back and forth. So what was that moment where you decided that you are not going to do photography as a hobby, but going to do it as a career and start a company from it?
That was simple. I got laid off.
Okay.
I got laid off, but I was hoping I would get laid off. I actually was dreaming of I felt very cushy in that job. I didn't feel like I would ever get laid off. Nobody ever got laid off from that company, not that I knew of.
Yeah.
Until the collapse happened, the financial market crash, and this was the investment company. So obviously, a lot of people got laid off. But yes, I was dreaming of that day. I was like feeling, what if I got laid off and I wouldn't have to make this tough decision, because I wanted to start my own business. I wanted to go on my own. I wanted to challenge myself and see how I can create and attract all the right customers and just create and grow this business. I've never done this.